Hi there, I'm Kelly Doyle with Realty Executives and Kelly Doyle Homes, and I am super excited to be sitting here with the owner of Slow Roll Cycles, Dan Dacko. Thanks for doing this with me.
Nope, no
And
problem.
today we're going to be talking about Dan, the store, and all sorts of things that you're going to want to know about at this awesome new bike shop. So stay tuned. I am sitting here with the owner, Dan Dacko of Slow Roll Cycles. Hello.
Hi.
I
Thanks.
am very excited for you guys to get to know him, more about the store, and so let's dive in. So, Dan, why don't you start off and start maybe just describing the business for people that maybe don't know about it yet.
Slow Roll Cycles, we're a brand new business. It came off of, being in the bicycle world for a really long time and decided to do this. We are a full service bicycle shop. We are a giant partner store. We're not 100% giant, but that's our main line. We do have a few other additional mountain bike lines, and we do have additional stuff that we get to. Also a full service center, including suspension service, a lot of services that shops won't do, wheel building and custom spoke cutting in-house, and a lot of complete teardown of suspension and mountain bike frames, and that's something very unique to this area. We also have a professional bike fitter that runs his studio out of this space. He has more experience than anybody else in the area. We kind of revolve around, kids bikes, utility bikes, and mountain bikes. That's kind of our main thing, and a lot of e-bikes. So a lot of commuter-oriented things and a lot of mountain bike stuff, which is sort of our passion in that.
Okay.
So.
Awesome. That's a lot. Well-rounded place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what made you decide to open this store?
Part of it was, total honest, is that I was looking for a job because I had some contract gigs that ended, and I decided that I didn't want to work for anybody anymore, and I kind of wanted to do our own thing, and we kind of wanted to do this for a really long time, but the right opportunity didn't present itself. Mm-hmm. And so we asked some questions, and all of a sudden Giant said, hey, we'd really love to partner with someone to open a store, and sort of all of the things sort of just kind of fell into place after that.
Okay.
And we're like, all right, sweet, let's do this.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cool story.
Well, yeah, and it leads into some of the other questions we wanted to talk about. I believe things happen for a reason, and it all kind of started falling into place.
Cool.
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So what has surprised you most so far since opening the store?
I think just the sheer amount of things that need to get done
Right.
in a given day.
Yeah.
I mean, it never amazes me, the amount of things that you need to get done. What also kind of amazed me is that if you plan it right and or keep to your passions and keep to reasons why you want to do it, you still can have the flexibility that you need to.
Yeah.
You just need to be adamant about it. I have realized, even for myself, that you just have to be. You have to force yourself to do things. You have to go beyond your comfort zone to force yourself to do things. And I didn't really realize that I would kind of have to do that to make the circle of our lives kind of work.
What was it like when you first started?
Very nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I bet.
Very nerve-wracking. And I actually probably irritated the majority of the staff a lot. A lot.
Well, self-awareness is a good thing.
No, it is. It is. I mean, it's a learning lesson, and you have to learn the quick lesson in humility, a quick lesson in time management, and a quick lesson that patience. You kind of had to let it flow and hope that all of the planning and everybody that you had convinced, right or wrong, to come along with you in the journey were in agreement that, at some point in life it would all just, it would make itself happen. Just getting people in. For us, it was really difficult and really nerve-wracking because we had a complete facade change of the building.
Right.
We had scaffolding in front of our space for the second and third week. You couldn't actually see that we were here.
Oh.
And then there was construction on the parking lot.
The parking lot was completely torn up.
Yes.
The first time I met you, I could barely get in.
And one of the main roads has been torn down basically for the last several months. So one of our main thoroughfares to get in here. So we have just had an amazing amount of, and then we didn't have an outside sign because of city permit delays and so many. For months, it was just kind of like, hoping that you did the right thing and they're all going to come.
Yeah.
So,
the sign looks great, by the way.
Thanks.
What is something that people don't know about Slow Roll Cycles?
The one thing that people really don't know is probably the experience and or expertise that we have.
Okay.
I mean, as far as having a bike fitter that teaches bike fitting around the country, the head mechanic has been a bike mechanic and or a service manager for almost 20 years. And I've been doing bicycles all of my adult life. We ride bikes, we race bikes. Our families are into bicycles, so we have probably more experience as, we don't have a lot of people here, but the amount of people that we here have more experience as a collective than probably any other shop in the area.
How did you find all these amazing people?
I just started asking questions, asking people if they kind of wanted to, because I see this as a story and a journey, like anything else, and I kind of ask people to come along in this journey, and people were good with it. You just ask questions, try to work within their flexibility and say, well, here's the plan that I have, not trying to be boastful about it, but the plan that it was laid out, everyone was good with. They're like, all right, sweet.
Yeah.
And everyone has sort of seen the long-term vision of what we want to do.
Okay.
Because we want to be a resource for the community, and bicycles is our avenue for that. And that today, bicycles is that's the thing that's going to drive it. And at some point we have idealistic goals about other things that we would like to do, i.e. be it mentorships or different programs for the community or things that we can do that we would like to see happen. My experience in the bicycle world, talking about things that people probably really don't know me, I don't know that I have a ton of skills that I would probably think are unique or anything of that nature.
Sure.
I used to be able to jump a bicycle really big. I don't do that as much anymore. But I've been on the other side of the bicycle world for a really long time. And that experience, whether it be a product manager, actually developing some of the products that people actually still come in with today. So you don't outright tell people, they're like, oh, well, I developed that. Like, my idea created that. So we think about things just a little differently in the way we go about it. And we have sort of, it's a clean slate. So we get to kind of write the rules or break the rules, either way, in the way that we think they could be.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's cool and very exciting.
Yeah.
What would you say customers love most about the store?
I would definitely say our level of service and our level to attention to details.
Okay.
Because today it's so intimate, and that'll also, ultimately it's always going to be the hardest thing is keeping sort of that intimacy or keeping, everybody in your people in touch, paying attention to those details. But the way we think about things, we don't really buy into a lot of the marketing conventions that are there today.
Okay. Yeah.
We're not really good like that,
Okay.
and we're really good at calling lies out or crap or things that they should think about. We probably take the approach that there are other things that drive the right bicycle for you or the right repairs that you do that are not motivated by dollars. Ultimately, that's not a long-term. It's not a long-term solution.
Sure.
For some it is.
Sure.
And some will try to sell you something just because that's what they have or because they'll always want you to spend more and so on and so forth. But I think the one thing that customers really appreciate for what we do is our brutal honesty.
Yeah.
Which is hard because this society today, I don't know that necessarily really cares about brutal honesty, but that's what they get.
They do.
That's what they get when they come here,
Yeah.
and it's a little bit refreshing, and sometimes it's a little bit hard to swallow, and but I think that's what they appreciate is that's what we're going to give them.
I think transparency. People value transparency.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
That genuine.
And they don't get that everywhere else, and
No.
that's sad. And I'm not saying, people run their businesses and they train their employees and they do whatever they want to do, but that's just not us. And I think that's why they really like, oh, okay.
What would you say so far are your greatest challenges? You kind of spoke a little bit, the rough patch getting started with all the construction and everything. Is there another?
I think the greatest challenge is simply getting the word out. That's actually the greatest challenge.
Yeah.
Is getting people to use their word of mouth to spread. Because it can be slow.
Yeah.
And there are so many social mechanisms, but my time, your time, everybody else's time is really limited. And even if you can get in front of them, it still doesn't mean that it's gonna resonate.
Right.
So cutting through the chatter and just, in all reality, say, we are here.
Yeah.
So.
And it sounds like you're providing the right experience for that to happen.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
'cause that's how it happens.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and we would rather it all happen, most of it happen word of mouth.
Yeah.
Not because it's the least expensive, because it still actually takes an awful lot of time and energy and dollars to make word of mouth happen, but simply just, that's the greatest challenge, to get people to know that you exist.
What made you choose this particular location?
We had 2 criteria.
Okay.
The first criteria was we wanted to go down to 1 car as a family of 4 and a teenager and a soon-to-be teenager. And I've been commuting by bicycle for the last, more or less, full year commuter, the last 7 years.
Okay.
A lot of miles every year. And so it had to be close enough that if the weather was really bad, it wasn't going to be horrible. Like, you weren't going to be on your bike that long. And then the second criteria was it needed to be 50% bike access and 50% car access, because we can never get away from cars. People are always going to come our cars, but
Yeah.
we wanted it to be welcoming from bike. That was a really big thing, because there are a lot of bike shops in this country, in this world, that suck to get to by bike.
Yeah.
It's better if it's on a route. And we looked at a spot right across from the library, the new library. We wanted to buy a building, and that didn't work out. And then randomly, we were kind of looking along Monona Drive, and we were originally looking at Ellie's, the diner that is now not there. But the landlord's like, oh, what's your business model? And I told him, he's like, oh, and this space was going to be opening up. And he was really, really willing to work with us to make this a reality, because we're building for growth, because we didn't need all of this today.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
he was willing to make it happen the long term as well as we were. So it met all our needs.
Yeah.
I mean, we live within 2 miles of the building, and it has equal bike access, easy car access, good tenants, a lot of foot traffic. So it all kind of works out.
Yeah. So what do you love about the area?
As much as change is happening, it's still very community oriented. It's still and it will always be, because there's so many houses around it, but it still feels very neighborhood-ish. You know?
I like that word.
Well, we're gonna, yeah, I mean, I make up word solid, but it still feels, there's enough, and even the things that are getting put in, there isn't as much, we still get to be a neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still the commercialization, even in Monona, or even the stuff that's going around the library and so on and so on and so forth. There's still a lot of housing, still a lot of people. We're still trying to put people in the area rather than, bigger box stores.
Switching gears, what is something most people don't know about you, Dan, personally?
Probably something that most people don't know about me is I have ridden my bike in almost, the majority of the continents in the world.
Oh, wow. That's
in
pretty
various
cool.
forms.
Okay.
So my intimate experience with bicycles all over the world is fairly deep.
Yeah. What is the most memorable experience you've had working with a customer?
It was just the other day,
Okay.
and they came in with their bicycle, and they needed they needed a tire on the bicycle that was not working, and the bicycle clearly came from only one other retailer in this town, and I tried to find it, and we couldn't find it. I know where we could ultimately find it, and she said to me, "Don't make me go. You're gonna make me go there, aren't you?"
Oh dear.
Back to the person where she bought this from, and I said, well, it might be the only option. I found another option for her, but she actually called me, and she's like, I went there, they had it, I picked it up, I'm bringing it to you, I'm gonna pay you to put it on, please don't make me go back there again. I said, okay, that's fine.
All right.
So, I mean, I like those experiences, because, at the same time, part of her point is that she appreciated what we're doing, and part of it was, there are truly people out there that want their local community to thrive.
Yeah. So why do you think it's important for people to shop local? Kind of a good segue there if we did.
Well, I think the biggest thing is, especially, we might be a special case where we live within the community. So if dollars come in here, they really don't go very far. And I think a lot of in this world that we're seeing is we're seeing in any smaller segment, I I think we're seeing a lot of dollars go out. And when you can keep them there, it benefits your neighbor, and it benefits your neighbor down the street, and it benefits the business, and it benefits, you know, the infrastructure as a whole. It really does.
Yeah.
Because you're keeping the majority of your dollars in a small sphere. I think it's 80 to 85% the last time I saw it. You know, the majority of dollars you spend within 3 miles of your home, if those businesses kept the dollars within their localness, then everything stays.
Yeah.
So then if businesses go away, because businesses come and go, and if but if the dollars are kept local, then it can just come back up rather than being siphoned off and it goes somewhere else. But another big thing about being local is that your local businesses end up being a hub for products that you need, that you can touch. And in all reality, freight costs and import costs and all these other costs have a greater impact that people don't realize. If you can go somewhere and touch and feel and get it done and keep it there, and you don't have to drive very far, so you're reducing your dollars to get somewhere, you're reducing your gas to get somewhere, you're reducing the resources it takes to get something done, where it's done en masse and it's a lot easier. And it's definitely, you know, the one thing I think about owning this business has definitely changed my perspective on keeping all that local.
Well, I think we just have one more question and then we'll be wrapping it up. So anything exciting going on that customers should know about? Obviously it's exciting that you're here.
Yeah, we have a very large demo fleet of bicycles for 2020 that we're building up. The ability to ride demos, we have Giant in town relatively soon coming in. We have a lot of clinics coming up.
Oh, cool.
Basic cervix clinics, suspension clinics. So we have a lot of these things now that time is freed up because we sort of let the business. There's still a lot to do, but we've got it a little bit organized so that we can take time and do some of these things for the community. So that's probably the biggest thing is just watching some of our social feeds and our web.
So where can they go to find out about the clinics coming up?
Most of them will all be built on events, so you can either go to slowrollcycles.com and then it'll be on the events page, or you can go to our Facebook page, Instagram. Either one of them will all have all of those details. I have a lot of those things coming up because now we have time to really start doing the things that we kind of set out to do.
Well, awesome. Well, that was an awesome story. Thank you so much for doing the interview. I hope you guys learned a lot. I know I did. And you'll have to come and check out this store. And we're located at
4118 Monona Drive.
So right here, and it's Madison technically?
It is
Yep,
Madison.
right on the border of Madison and Monona there on Monona Drive. So come and check it out. And again, thank you, Dan Dacko, from the owner of Slow Roll Cycles, and Kelly Doyle with Realty Executives and Kelly Doyle Homes. We'll check you next time. Thanks.